Hi Aquarius, welcome back. We are here to do your July read. Now, those of you that don't know, I'm a psychic medium. I cover the astrology to help you through this very interesting time that we are all experiencing so that you can be armed, prepared, and you can deal with anything really in a circular effect that can be coming up. Now, I am covering your romance house. So yes, this is also going to be a romance read as well as mid-month. I do a romance read as well. I'm also additionally this month going to be including, if you are a soul member, be it you're a twin, etc. I am creating zodiac signs for those that maybe are at a lower frequency, how they will deal with this transit. And if you know their zodiac sign, feel free to go and have a look. Let's get into the energy of what's coming through for you. Now, this month is going to be pretty action-packed for you. And any of my clientele that are Aquarians, I've tried to prepare for this end stage. Now, the eclipses have been hitting your health house. It's also your luck house. And also the 12th house. So there's a lot going on both emotionally and spiritually for you guys. You did have a little bit of a break when Saturn returned to your first house. And that's coming back again. But we are going to have about 5 to 6 months of this energy where at the beginning of the month, Saturn, which is very much your energy, it's moving back into Capricorn. So for this, it does fall into your 12th house of psychology. Now, 12th house is a very interesting placement, and it does depend on, how you deal with it, what tools you have at your hand. We can call it the house of imprisonment, mental asylums. There's a lot of psychology and spirituality surrounding it, and it's kind of a positive thing in a sense because it means you're coming full circle. So whatever age you are, it's a very, very spiritual house. You're deeply changed through that process. Now, we did have the nodes in Cancer and Capricorn. We're tying out those eclipse seasons. So it has been for you guys quite a tumultuous 2.5 years. You are entering into higher ground, but it's this last pocket of energy, and very much with the eclipse coming up on the 5th, even moving into the week beforehand, you can be feeling off. With that frequency. Now, we still have a lot of Cancer placements going on. We have Mercury retrograde in Cancer. We also have Neptune going retrograde, which is falling into your second house. And there is an aspect that you need to be aware of, more so with Venus going direct. It's your 5th house placement. Now, the nodes also are going to be in that area for a while too. So from a positive sense, I've really jotted down to actually see on the 27th, there is a squaring aspect being made to Neptune. So the energy I do see coming up for you is you may feel a little bit disheartened with some of the things that you're wanting. Maybe with this Venus direct and the things you like doing, maybe your day-to-day movements, your socialization, because Gemini is a very social sign, so is your zodiac sign. Getting back to a point where you could be questioning some things at the moment. Now, the 27th is making a squaring aspect to Neptune, as I mentioned. And at a theoretical level, we do also correlate the energy of Pisces being very 12th house, regardless, at a collective level. So, you may already understand what isn't working, and it could be a very psychic download for you. So moving into that week, I really highly recommend that you sit with the energy, try not to take it personal, and I do feel you're going to find a creative solution as to what that dream is going to be. Neptune really is dreams, ambitions, but in the reverse effect, it can be, have we based something on a stable foundation, a reality-based foundation, or is it something that now we're coming to a resolve about that really doesn't fit? So this can be a shifting frequency coming through. Now, the ruin that I've actually selected for you is very similar to what Libra had. And with this, it does link into feeling as though you're having a hand. The way I can articulate it is feeling like you're moving back into Groundhog Day. And yes, at a theoretical level, if you're feeling you had come out of the woodworks in the last few months, felt more yourself, it's perfectly normal because Saturn was in your first house. Moving out of that, moving back to the Capricorn energy, Nightmare on Elm Street. It's like, okay, I'm up in my head again. Really using crystals to ground yourself, keeping yourself busy, taking time out where you can actually, have some peaceful time. You may feel anxious vibrationally. Moon energy is all about vibrations. And Capricorn happens to be falling in your mind zone. So if you're finding your sleeping energy is off, it can be relating into the moon frequency as well as the eclipse. But a lot of old energies can be coming up to do with your life, to do with family, to do with psychology. So if this is coming up for you, the crystal I've selected, right, and it's what's come out for you. Green, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce it, okay? I know 2 languages and I'm just not going to try. Anywho, it is easy for me to maintain overall well-being with conscious habits of health. Like I mentioned with the axis of the Cancer Capricorn energy, you know, vibrations have been, especially if you do correlate the energy with you being an empath, where you can tune into how other people feel, where you do pick up trends. You know, you're very much the wider group energy as an Aquarian. So sometimes you can feel very disconnected from the group, yet everyone is very attracted to you and they look at you as the leader, which can be a huge responsibility at times. This can be in your family, in your workplace, whatever you're directly doing in your life. A lot of people very similar to you feel the same, but for Aquarians, they do tend to take that extra sense of accountability on, being that you're navigated by Saturn. It is easy for me to maintain overall well-being and conscious habits and health. Whatever comes up with Mercury retrograde, it can be frustrating. You might be looking at your diet. There may be vibrations that are affecting you. You know, using meditation to actually balance these areas can help, as well as maybe paying attention to food groups that are agitating you during this time. And I did mention in June, pacifier energy, of which we turn to something in a sense to actually cope with the frequency. And that can be, you know, our habits, drinking coffee, food, for nurturing energy. Pick what's coming up and reach out if you need support, you know, be it to a counselor if that vibration's getting very heavy. But the one thing I can say is this is going to pass. So if you feel this is going to be a permanence in your life, it is more to do with the astrology. 5 months sounds a lot, but when you look at the context of how long that placement's been there, once it goes, it's not coming back for a very long time. Obviously, if it's something that you feel is most heavy and you physically think it's been a nagging thing for longer than that point, 100%, you know, check. And again, I'm not a doctor, but from an astrological point of view, all of us collectively have 5 years. It just happens to be it's your first house. Maintain a healthy heart, which is very much linking in with both the eclipses. You know, heart resonance comes through, as well as the way you eat, heart-centered, heart purging. Improve beliefs about good health and overall well-being. Increased healthy outlook on all levels, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. 12th house, you can't make it up. Now, with the ruin, it does link into Odin, which is unique because we're talking about Saturn energy. It's also Raven energy. Sometimes synchronistically feeling we're returning home. It can be something to do with inheritance. It can be inherited, you know, aspects of who you were and maybe you were trying to avoid it. Whatever it be, regardless, what it's really saying is, you know, wherever you end up being right now, especially this month or where you've been, it doesn't have to end in a negative frame. All of this process has very much been for a new version of you. This self-discovery energy that you're moving through has been a process. The adversity you've experienced has been a process, but it definitely is bringing you home to who you innately are, separately to our conditioning of what society, family, etc. feels we need to be. Now, your crowning energy, let's see. Okay, you may be feeling in the past, maybe you couldn't trust people, you couldn't let people in. Maybe to do with things, a lot of what's happened really has come unannounced. And I do feel you're looking back and you're thinking you really didn't think you'd be where you are right now. I mean, a lot of us collectively with what's happening in the media, we would say the same. So it could be things to that degree, or just really surprised by where you currently stand. I am feeling as though at the moment this can be bringing emotions up, but I feel that you're being really rational with it. I'm also feeling, you know, very focused on learning, education. It could be that you're moving into a lot of what you did learn through this process. And, you know, providing you can take that on board and use it as a tool to move you forward, I do feel there's other people around you that are going through similar things to you, and it's almost like they're going to move in towards you. And this may actually surprise you in a sense that you are more prepared and capable to deal with this transit moving forward. I feel you've been in the energy long enough to now understand what it is. So it'll feel as though it's very shocking that it's returned energetically, but at the same time, it's sort of, you have actually created tools through that process. Now, when it does come to things that you're basing decisions on right now, I do feel you're pausing, you're reflecting, you're using the hermit mode energy with the 12th house frequency and Neptune at a collective level being 12th house, and you're taking time to work out what you're going to move towards. I feel as Venus goes direct, this will be where more clarity comes. And August definitely does appear to be in a better month. And each month has its own challenge, and definitely in the last 4 years it has been extremely challenging astrologically. But I just feel at this point, your stepping movement forward is going to be very, very rational. Future tense, you're assessing what you want to invest in. Now, this at a very crowning energy broad level, I do feel you may be looking at your friendship group. So you might be looking at the people around you, where you want to be, how you look at families and connections, and what you want out of a connection. Some of you, there could be a home-related dynamic. Cancer, the zodiac sign directly does. You can be assessing the health environment, or whether it's something very personal going on inside you. And having that, we did have Saturn moving into Aquarius for a while. It is returning in 2021, and it's going to be there till about April the following year. So it will give you a good pocket of time in that frequency. Let's see. Okay, your money at the moment. You can be really tuning into, and again, you're very hunch energy. And when I say your hunch energy, there can be some situations coming up around the Capricorn eclipse that need to be clarified. Now, this can be relating into structures that you're looking at. And I'm also seeing like a vision of you almost using the matrix mindset. It's like you're decoding situations and you're sensing them before they're occurring. It may be a song coming up on the radio. It might be a pattern that you're seeing. And it's a bit like I'm seeing pixels coming down. It could be that you're actually looking at data. Now, if you're studying or you're reading something or you're trying to go over paperwork, with particular planets retrograde, you do tend to find mishaps during that. And so sometimes you can feel you're backtracking over it. I'm sort of seeing somebody sitting in a computer, and it does feel like data entry, reading up on things, studying. I do feel this is going to aid you moving forward, but I'm also feeling, even those of you who are quite younger, for some reason it's like you're going to have this miraculous idea, and it could be taking you on a brand new journey. Now, as I mentioned, with the energy of the Cancer eclipse, we currently have Mercury retrograde for most of the month in Cancer. So it's still holding the resonance of the previous eclipse that was affecting your health zone. So if you've been feeling off, again, I can see that a connection to you actually nurturing yourself, changing the diet up a little bit, doing whatever you feel is natural and being more cautious, especially drinking fluid during this time will be important. Now, your emotions could come up surrounding money, but again, I feel ingenious ideas. Something appears to be hidden, but it's going to come to clarity. So if you've been waiting on paperwork and it's been frustrating, if you've been waiting on maybe taking a plan of action, I do feel some information is going to come to you between these two moon energies. Your career sector is going to be very abundant, and potentially if you guys have actually been waiting for an offer, or you're trying to finalize tasks, this is a really perfect time to actually achieve those. And I'm not saying it's not going to be testing. Some of you might have already started last month to complete certain tasks, which is really advised. Mercury retrograde can be frustrating to achieve those, but it doesn't mean it's not impossible. I am feeling overall many of you may actually, again, I just feel hunch energy as to you could be in one career sector and just decide suddenly you're really experienced in another area, and you may accidentally start progressing and processing an actual idea, a theory, or a company, something to that degree. It feels very, very separate to whatever you're directly dealing with. Now, around you in your tribe, this can be with your friendship groups. Let me look where this falls for you, because I really feel a very strong energy there. Ah, that's right. Yes, with the nodes. Okay, for the next 2.5 years, the nodes are we're going to be moving towards the Gemini energy. Now, Gemini is Mercury energy, it's movement, it's your day-to-day routine, it can be technology. The Sagittarius energy can be siblings, it can be our spiritual belief systems, gurus. Now, that usually is the 9th house. So again, your education is growing. A lot of your education, though, can also be coming to you in very separate ways. It can be coming from foreigners, it can be coming from the internet, from life experience. This does fall in your 11th house. So your belief system connected to potentially safety. You might be moving away from a belief system that certain groups have had. And that's quite natural that this will occur. Now, initially, you may struggle with that and you may feel the safety of that tribe, that group. The goals that you had in mind were cemented. And it's interesting that it's coming up through your career sector, that already for me at a psychic level is coming through of a transformation. It does make sense, and don't hinder yourself if you feel you're changing your mind. It is a very fluid time at the moment where things won't completely be cemented, but it's a really great time to jot down your ideas and theories. Now, for the next 2.5 years, as I mentioned, we're really moving towards your 5th house. So you won't completely ever leave the South Node. You will, through moving towards the North Node of Gemini, you will accidentally and incidentally transform the South Node. So your friendship groups, your friends, your hopes and dreams, your pastimes, the things you like doing, both of them will be working hand in hand. But you'll also be potentially even changing your belief systems, your pastimes, your hobbies, the people you're mixing with, and there can be some new people coming into your life. I also feel your luck is hugely generated over the next 2.5 years. So yes, we're moving away from one energy, and it is just that last pocket of energy that we're moving through and cycling out. But it doesn't mean to say these new energies aren't coming through. Now, for your tribe, you do have the 9 of Wands. You know, you may be very close to a particular group, or you might require that groups be extra close to you. Now, I'm picking two things up. If you're deeply, deeply feeling triggered in any shape or form, it's going to be important to select your friendship group very selectively. And I used this analogy in 2017 and 18, and that was when my awakening was occurring. It's almost like you have that one friend or family member in your phone and you know what they're going to say, and it feels very self-sabotaging. You know, really have that backup plan at the moment to go through your phone and maybe even color code things, or have that go-to person, and have it where you have that backup, where you have that person that you can turn to. You know, some of you might be retreating away from certain people at the moment, and that is perfectly normal as well. But it's also deeply, deeply important to have very like-minded energies around you. I do feel some of you are actually meditating upon this, and I see the group being quite large and then sifting right down, but it's not going to be a permanent thing. It's more going to be as you're going through this transitional state this month, you may be very selective about the people you want to mix with. Now, there could be a very large conversational piece around a male energy this month in your family. This could be a love interest, it could be a father figure, but it is a male energy. Something to do with this, you may be assessing the males in your family. This can be, like I said, I'm really feeling a very strong person who made a deep impact on you. It could also be the correlating energies between people's roles that they've played. Strange the messages I'm getting from this, but I am feeling a very strong energy surrounding a male energy. I do feel you may kind of relate more to one sex than the other. And I feel there's a reason why this has occurred. But I do feel this very gentle, masculine energy. Maybe that wasn't hugely outspoken, but their energy is around you. And they may not even be on this earth plane. They may have passed over, but I do feel this is going to be a subject coming up this month. I also do feel there can be an offer of love, and it's really going to be up to you how you look at it. I do suggest more so meditating on it till Venus does go completely direct. And you're pretty much going to find that to be more towards the end of the month, but it should lighten as the week, as the month progresses. Yeah, June 25th. So, there can be some uncertainty still surrounding that, especially with Mercury retrograde. But I do feel the person is actually coming through honestly. But you may feel that there have been things that have chopped and changed, so you're a bit unsure. Now, with the lunar eclipse in Capricorn, I do feel there can be some burdens that are coming up. And again, I'm feeling more mind over matter energy. If you're struggling with something, I really, like I said, suggest that you actually reach out. Now, although it's a new moon in Cancer on the 20th, you may be very cutting with people. And again, we are going to have Mars entering into being a 6-month transit. So with that, where did I write it down? Yeah, it's going to fall in your 3rd house, which does completely make sense. I knew it was going to come through. When it comes to your communication, very Gemini orientated. 3rd house is movement, communication, short journeys. You're going to be very strict with people. I do feel you're going to be very Saturn. You're going to be like, look, I don't have the patience for this. So again, I do feel it's last chance. And being a blue moon, you will find this is an opportunity for us collectively to relook over those nodal energies. Mercury by this stage should be going direct. The eclipse energy, we're moving into that new realm. We had 0 degrees of the Cancer eclipse, and then the new moon is a second chance. These things to tie out, and I feel you can be very direct in your communication with people that aren't respecting these boundaries. Now, your love. I'm going to have to plow through this because I've got a reading today. Yeah, you're looking at, okay, are you selling me porky pies? And I do feel, again, mind energy. It doesn't have to be that this person is toxic, but you may be playing over old scenarios in your mind that hurt you, betrayed you. This person could be also, in your mind, very intoxicating, so you feel that you can't control your energy. Even looking back in the past, that you might have felt like you might have bought something up a little bit too late. There may have been things that you wanted to discuss. In the heart of it, again, I do feel you're in your 12th house energy. So you could be getting some very interesting feelings and vibrations coming through, but there's something that you're not letting go of. And I do feel this is a delay on the energy. You could feel very disconnected, and it doesn't even have to be that if you're in a partnership you're leaving them. It could be something you're meditating upon, but I feel in general it's more a vibration. There's also pain connecting to past tense separations in general, and this is where, with this family energy crowning, where there is a very strong male energy, I almost feel they're trying to guide you through this process and help heal you. Moving forward, it's deeply positive. I just feel it's this interim of you processing these things at a psychological level, and this month being a little bit testing for you, but we will check in mid-month. Now, the person that you're tuning into, again, they are doing something very similar to you. So again, depending on the zodiac sign they are, I have actually done the reads per placement of astrology, so go and look at their zodiac sign. But with their mind, they have been emotionally stuck, and I do feel they resonate with you. They understand what you're going through, even if they're not articulating it. In the past, even for them, leaving old situations behind and feeling that they were quite cursed, they're really in the heart center of wanting to take their power back, and they are quite ambitious. I feel this person here's more sure than you at this point. I mean, they're having blind courage, and they're wanting to make balance with you. They're wanting to make a truce when it comes to this connection with you. This also could be either a Pisces or a Libra, and I'm seeing fire energy here too. That's for those of you who it's most popping out, but it doesn't mean to say it's not other zodiac signs. Gemini. Overall, there is something they're completing to a point where they know it's like a shadow of their past. I'm getting they're needing to look at the shadow. I feel both of you are going through a huge transformation. The foundation for them is bravery moving forward. This person has been dealing with very greedy energy surrounding them, very manipulative energy. But it's like at the back of them with this throne, it's like they're on their throne. They've got the clarity as to where they were. And it's funny because it's almost like they're, again, like the Raven energy, they're doing a 360. They're knowing what they're leaving behind is dark, but they're also feeling as though moving forward is dark. And that's more being really honest and earnest with themselves, is that they are scared, they're nervous, but they're still willing to actually see it because they're gaining value. They're gaining that sense of value. I do feel somebody surrounding them very separately has really betrayed them, and I feel this has really cut that umbilical cord to a point where they're able to make that very cutting decision to make this move. Okay. Any stagnation that's going on is so that this cycle can clear out, and it's so that it's not being cruel to you. I'm not feeling this to be bad. I more feel universe is trying to allow this to close out, and I do feel there potentially could be two love interests, okay? There's two people I do feel that are going to want to move forward with you. And this could be even you thinking, okay, are there two paths? Do I, don't I? But you're really on the fence about this at the moment. Again, I will check in with you mid-month. But overall, the separation, I feel if you have currently separated, it's temporary. It's more to do this healing process. Those of you, if you're together, again, it's more you're disconnected and you're processing. There's some things that you want to talk about that have been on your mind. But you also don't want to hurt this person, but the words could come through quite cutting. But it's more because you are fed up of certain things. And although you've got this growing energy coming through, you also have this mother or father energy coming through in a sense of quite authoritarian. This may have thrown them into a spiral, but nevertheless, I am feeling it's actually helping them make a clear decision. I'm also feeling on their side a sick relative. I'm seeing job, home, bus, and I'm just calling out what they're showing me. Something to do with a lot of travel as well. It could be distance. There could be a distance that this person has to go to. If you're together, that may be different, but again, I do feel travel. There's something relating to travel here. This could be a metaphor for the spiritual travel. And look, overall, they know that they did not give you everything you deserved, currently or past tense. But it has been due to some scenarios playing out and them not operating at their highest frequency. Now, again, be very careful with all these emotions, because with the devil energy and Neptune retrograde and the 6th house placement of Cancer, there is that risk energy with the 12th house placement that you could turn to pacify energy of alcohol, illicits, etc. So if you're feeling triggered, just really reach out and get that support so that, you know, these surrounding energies don't actually affect your auric field. You can use crystals to actually help, which can be tourmaline, onyx. Citrine can actually help with that energy to take your power back and feel in control. And definitely amethyst as well with the 12th house, where you can have that clear channel. But if it's getting too much, remove yourself from it and just get grounded and try. And it's a bit similar to channeling energy. It's almost, you know, doing something that is more pleasant or more mundane to tune your energy out of your mind and into a 3D task, and that should help really control that frequency. Love and light. I'll check in with you guys romantically mid-month, and if you're wanting to look at the karmic read, it'll resonate. You know, don't look at the romance house more so, but if you do have a friend and you find they're really struggling, go and have a look at that reading, because it will cover actually how they're handling the astrology with less tools. And, you know, even if you want to share it more so with a perspective of how they can look at this video potentially, feel free to share. Love and light, and I'll see you during the month for the Twin Flame live sessions. I'll see you soon.